The state of the race is essentially tied with Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump, both basically and as a toss-up on the Electoral College map. Right now, what you're seeing on the screen is a map of the 2024 presidential election map per DDHQ, the Hills average. So in this map is showing you all 7 swing states, including Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, as toss-ups, with each one with their corresponding percentages probability of who's going to win. Per the DDHQ, like a lot of other forecasts are showing Trump winning the election if it were held today, October 21st, 2024. Less than 2 weeks, approximately 2 weeks before the presidential election. But I want to pose a question, something that's been constantly coming up amongst pollsters, and it is, what constitutes a good poll, right? In the last video, I went through 538's average of polls, and we essentially talked about how 538 likes to grade polls according to the quality of that poll. And they determine that based on a number of determining factors. One of them being the partisan inclination of the poll, whether it's done by a Republican pollster or a democratically aligned pollster. In other words, it's a pollster that is in favor of one party or another, or is aligned politically to one party or another, so that determines the quality. Another is the sample size, whether it's online or over the phone. Nowadays, a lot of pollsters are using online polls more often than not because people generally don't answer their phones, so that's another factor. Now, another factor to note in addition to that is whether or not the number of those polls being from one party aligned pollsters. So that narrows us down to a certain aggregate of polls. So what is a high quality pollster with that definition, right? I would say, according to 538's definition, a high quality pollster is one that is not aligned to either political side of the political spectrum and is more quote unquote unbiased. So example of that would be such as Suffolk University's polls or the Suffolk University pollster, that is a nonpartisan pollster. Another example of a high quality pollster would be I said Emerson College is another one of those. High quality pollster is not aligned to any political party. Another high quality pollster is YouGov. YouGov is a non-aligned as well. So with a lot of pundits indicating or stating or arguing that most of the polls or a lot of the polls that are coming out are party aligned pollsters. I mean, you can see simplify from this list, right? Tip Insights, Quantum Insights, Atlas Intel, ActiveVote, On Message, RMG Research. These are all pollsters that are aligned to one party or another, if I'm not mistaken. They're other party affiliated. And so with those polls aligned to one side or the other, how can we then determine what would the results look like if those pollsters were not included in the aggregate, right? Right now in the aggregate, we see all of these pollsters aligned. They're weighted from one side to the other, but let's ask ourselves the question, what would happen if we didn't include party aligned pollsters in the average of these polls? Well, we have that answer because Nate Cohn from the New York Times did precisely that. And he launched a scenario, or at least like an average, that only included high quality pollsters. And in that polling average, he had polls that are primarily high quality ones that are not aligned to any particular party. And what was found is that, for example, let me show it to you. What was found is that it was there was very little in the way of of difference in terms of like what the results gave. It does, however, show a better race for Harris of 1 to 2 points, with her being slightly ahead. So here is all the pollsters, and here is select pollsters. See how the race changes according to how we selected. So selected pollsters are the pollsters that are high quality or not aligned to any political party. And all pollsters is like all the information added together. See, Trafalgar Group appears here as a Republican pollster. All pollsters here not aligned at all. Atlas Intel don't have that much information on them. They're pretty new, but here they are. And then in the aggregate of it, let's look at state by state, shall we? Let's go by, let's look at swing state by swing state first. So Arizona, we have still a pretty even race, but leaning more towards Trump, like we've seen throughout most of the race. We see Georgia, same story. Let's move on to the Rust Belt, Michigan. We have a similar story to that one, but more leaning towards Harris. Nevada, been looking better for Harris as of late, even though it's a +6 poll for Trump. North Carolina, looking better for Harris recently in the most recent poll. Pennsylvania, looking better for Trump in the most recent poll, although it's like mixed considering the results. And then Wisconsin, looking a little bit better for Harris. So as you can see, it looks slightly different according to the polls that you use. If you use higher quality polls, it's a little bit more lenient towards Harris. If you include the lower quality ones, it's a little bit more lenient towards Trump. But as Nate Cohn here from the New York Times states and stresses, this race is essentially the same as the map we saw at the beginning of this video, a toss-up. So thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe to this to the channel, and share this video with your friends. I'll see you all on the next one.